We can't remain the same and expect our lives to be different. So if you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done.
This is I Did It. It's insights from people who have done something they never thought they would or could do. And today's guest, well, he's all about making employees happy first. He's got board member expertise. He's right into curiosity. Oh, I like that. Emotional intelligence. I need some more of that. He specialises in helping HR specialists in Luxembourg. You are my first Luxembourg guest. And he's all about increasing employee performance, retention, and well-being long before they decide to want to quit. Welcome, Thomas Antoine-Williams.
Thank you, Julian, for having me. Very excited.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to set this up and about what I want to talk about here. I want to explore this idea that out there at the moment, everything is amazing, but nobody's happy. And, you know, we've got all these people who are wanting to quit, but really what I tell them is they shouldn't quit too soon because outside solutions rarely solve their inside problems. But we live in this world where we've been trained to believe that the best way to solve a problem is to buy something. I mean, we've got the medicalization of feelings, we've got the loneliness epidemic, we've got the addiction to comfort, the tyranny of convenience. There's a whole industry around depression out there. Can you speak to how you fit into this context?
Yeah, actually, Julian, it's actually something that touches many people, whether they are on an employee level, at a personal level, at home, everywhere. But of course, there is actually another way of doing things. And I think that how I sit in this kind of scenario is with a lot of self-compassion. And what do I mean by self-compassion? Is being aware that it's very hard to be actually thriving in this world with so many distractions and so many mixed match information. So what I'm trying to do myself first is just to realize what are my needs, those basic needs, if I'm actually fulfilling them, and how can I be more aware of where I deal with or where I get along with, where they at, and just be compassionate because it's very hard just to sometimes point out in this way. And I think it's when I am more mindful of how people are either struggling or thriving, it makes me just a little bit more aware that things are not very easy, which are not. And of course, there are ways to get along with that. So the short answer is being more mindful with myself and with others.
So this is along the idea of know yourself and lead yourself before you go out and lead others.
Definitely. I think it's this scenario that we all live in 2020 actually was actually a catalyst as well to realize that things can actually are sometimes out of our control. So when you actually be more aware of the things that makes you navigate in this era, it's very important to know what are the things that touches you, how do you react, so that you can respond in a different way or better way. And I think that's very important.
So sum up what it is that you like on a general Monday to Friday, who you help and how do you help them?
Yeah, very good question. Well, I actually have a full-time job as a director. And of course, in that job, I really use my skills in terms of leadership, management, coaching. And that's important because it helps to connect with the employees at a level of knowing them, developing their skills, and of course, allowing them to choose which way they want to go. And experience has taught me that being that leader, which is kind, listen, all these things that we hear, but really living the journey has made me realize that they stay with me. What is the difference of being a leader and getting results? We're not keeping people, then there's actually something missing. And I just realized through all these years of doing this management style, they stay with me. So I said, what am I doing different? And I realized that actually it works. It works when you actually be more present to actually get the best out of people, and of course accepting their own path. So on the office setting with my full-time job, that's what I'm doing. Outside my job, I became a full certified coach, which which means that I wanted to do something outside my job that fulfill me in a bigger way to actually achieve more, I would say, impact more people. And it's through coaching, for example. My first client, actually somebody that was in my network, she was feeling a little bit lost, although she's very intelligent. So that made me realize that we all have different stages, right? And the first thing I knew, that I knew nothing. Let me explain, Julian. The first thing I knew as an experienced leader when I started doing coaching outside my corporate job is that I knew nothing. And that made me realize that to be a leader and a manager, there was something missing, and this coaching skill allowed me to be in another position, to really go with this curiosity mindset, ask questions, be with the person in that level, and of course, help them together as a partner to achieve what they want. And that was for me mind blowing. It's completely interesting.
So, what was the trigger out that made you make that step from having two roles going at the same time, from being a hands-on director in a business to coaching on the side? But in a sense, it's the two are married together.
As I said, I think that the incident or the event called COVID pandemic really made me realize three important things. And I can see myself in March 2020 in my living room. Everything was quiet. We couldn't go to work. Everything was completely locked down. And I asked to myself this question: say, if I go now, if I finish, if we all die now, what would you regret? And that question came to me in a very natural way, very relaxed. And very soon, these three answers came to me. I said, well, I never wrote a book. I don't know why this came to my mind. And I think it was because when I was small, living, of course, in Panama, I said, okay, before you die, you need to write a book. You have to travel the world, or you have to, all these kids' dreams. So that came at that time, surprisingly. The second was, okay, I'm very fulfilled at work. I'm very lucky to have the team and the company where I work with. And I said, what can I do outside my corporate job to fulfill my purpose? And the third one was, then how can I go deeper in nutrition? How can I go deeper with my eating habits? So fast forward, we're talking about March. In May, I completely switched to be a vegetarian, to start trying it. And that I did it on a all this happening while all the numbers, imagine the COVID, the numbers, everybody was I was actually going deep on forums with doctors, just giving more about nutrition and all these things, which make me realize, well, maybe I can try that, but I like meat. I like so much meat. And at the end, I said I will give it a try, but 1 week I will not tell anyone because I don't want to be ashamed if I fail. And it has been since May, 2020, that I became a vegetarian up to now. And I saw my results, my medical results going better, better, and better, because I did it on a very awareness and mindful way, very kind to myself, and I saw my results getting actually. It was good. It went actually better. That was the first thing. With the coaching was very interesting because I got an ad surfing on the internet, and there was this coach which was leading the mind and the brain on neuroscience coaching, and I said, "Wow, what is this actually?" And I jump in right in. I put my credit card, which I never do something like that. I could have even get robbed, actually, scam, but I did it right away. I just felt that that was exactly what I needed to learn at that time. And yeah, I did it for 6 months intensely, at nights and on weekends while having my job. And then I did 1 year more training to go deeper into ICF coaching, to actually have that level of ethic, very high scale, very hard. And the last one was, of course, writing my book. That was like, who am I? Who am I? We're talking about, yeah, never thought doing something like that. And when the opportunity came to me, I said, okay, I know this is what I actually envisage. And I have to give the thought 24 to 48 hours because I was feeling very scared to, who am I to write a book? I mean, it was too much. Now I talk to people that wrote 3, 4 times, 5, 6 books. For me, it was like, wow, this is too much. And the opportunity came, and I jumped right in. And that was really, really scary.
So it's interesting that there's an author named Bronwyn Ware. She was a palliative care nurse. She wrote a book, I've forgotten what it's called, but one of the big takeaways she said was that, after having nursing literally hundreds, if not thousands of people who were dying, they all said they never regretted what they had done. They always regretted what they had never done. And that's when they were facing death that they said that. So it's very interesting that you said when COVID happened that, in a sense, that, something makes us question our mortality. So, and I'm very careful with the language that I'm using here, that I'm not saying COVID was a blessing. I am saying that sometimes there's a silver lining to every dark cloud. And it sounds like for you that was a timely, if not welcome, trigger.
I will say it was a catalyst moment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that is, and it's when I speak to others about change, I'm always at pains to say, you've got to understand that change is not a process. Change is a decision, because when a decision is made, because if I don't want to do something, you can't make me, but when I've decided to do something, you can't stop me, and that's the real point of change. Everything after that is just process. It's just the steps, but in here and in here, you have already made the switch. Do you find that?
It really is, because yeah, it all starts with a decision, right? And I think, to make sense to what I'm saying, is that even the decision of actually showing up here, actually, and just talking to you, I can actually be impressed as a human person, as a human being. And I think it's important to know that we all have feelings, and I know in my side, from my part, I'm very scared to do many things, and that's been my story since I was a child. And I actually dance with scare. I dance with it. And when I'm saying dancing, is because I realize that although I was feeling scared, there was something that happened in my mind that kept me moving forward. And Julian, to be honest, and I don't think I'm more special than anyone. Actually, I really, when I look back, and I said, why I did the decision? Why am I doing this at the moment, despite I'm feeling fear? And sometimes people around me will say, "Oh no, you don't look like, you look very yeah, joyful, and you like this, you dance and this." But the reality is that I see daily very courageous people, employees and family members and strangers that are going through many things, and they are courageous in my eyes. So yeah, everything starts with a decision, and when you are aware of that you just said the rest is a process, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
It makes
It's
it
very,
easier.
yeah. The language you use there, I really like it. This dancing with being scared, dancing with fear. It's a very evocative. It's very evocative language because that's what it's like, isn't it? You can imagine somebody like if you see old-fashioned ballroom, people in a waltz, how they move, they go that way and then they all of a sudden retreat and then they go over that way and then they go this way, but then they retreat again. And it's this continual process. And I'm exactly the same. I dance with fear every day, every week. Change is I'm either angry about something and I don't feel in control. Confused about something. I don't have the clarity, or I'm scared about something, and I want to find that confidence to be able to get over. So it's a continual process. And something you said there triggered this. I just listened this morning to a podcast by Seth Godin, the marketer, and he was talking about genius and how a lot of times genius is mistaken. It's not saying people aren't clever. It's not saying people haven't put in the effort. Quite often, genius is mistaken for the guts to show up, to actually put yourself out there when you don't know, how your work is going to be received. In a sense, it's a sense of bravery, and it's mistaken that people think, oh, what a genius. No, that person's good, but they were the person who put their hand up and took the step forward.
Yeah, it make me realize that like Einstein. I mean, who doesn't know Einstein and how many times he failed and he was taken for a fool? Or I don't know, Leonardo da Vinci and all these great people that today for us they are genius. Yeah, even Richard Branson, who actually was not good in school, and all these things. These are examples that shows that we all humans, and everyone has something internally that is beautiful and that is amazing. And when you actually know that, then it's like a responsibility to share it with others, right? That they actually can, no matter what, no matter the struggles, no matter what happened yesterday, you have something special, and that can be multiplied, and you can play the song that you would like to dance with that. And of course, along the way, you will have fear, you will have doubts, you will have uncertainties. And when you actually know yourself, your limitations, then you can work on that because you have it very clear. And I think that that's what coaching, I come back again with this skill. It really helped yourself to coach your own self, but as well get help with other coaches. I have like 6 coaches for different things, right? And it helped you to just get ahead despite what you're feeling actually.
So you say that you defend employees' rights to be happy. Why? Why in a human context? And I think I understand that from this conversation, but why in a commercial context. I mean, what's the dollar cost? Is there a formula, a rule of thumb that you use, what it costs to replace an employee?
Oh, yeah. I think that, well, when you talk about happiness, for certain people, that can sound wow, it's amazing. It sounds like a better place to be, etc. Right? And for other people, it might sound like too fluffy, too okay. Yeah, happiness. I mean, this sounds too good to be true, especially in a corporate setting or in an environment at work with high demands, targets, and everything. So I actually call myself the happiness warrior because it will actually say, "Oh, warrior, this guy is very aggressive," which I'm not. Let us be clear. But I just to make sure that to link something that can sound a little bit fluffy and too in the clouds to be no, this is an intentional decision again to show up as we get more from people when they are happy. And what means to be happy is mean to be on a safe environment. And when we are on a safe environment, what happened here in our brains as human beings? We're not on defensive mode, right? We're not in the reptilian brain. For people, just to be clear, we're not chasing to be alive and survive. We actually on a creative mode. We are in a curiosity. We are giving our best because we feel safe. And that's where better idea comes. We are thriving. We have problems. We go and find the solutions and together. So what I'm saying about this is when I go to work every day and when I see my employees, I try to be first myself. And I know I'm the catalyst of a good energy as well. So I'm intentionally on this good mood. Doesn't mean that I'm not having bad days. And I will just actually retreat myself a little bit of that to recalibrate what triggers me to show up in a better way, of course. But the intention is to make sure that they have a safe space so they can be happy. And of course, while getting results. And I repeat that, while getting results. Because it doesn't matter to be happy and then no results, right? We want to get results. We're not a bank. We need to be profitable. That's what I said. We're not a bank. And yeah, when employees are happy, they will give the best. And I actually seen it for the past almost 20 years doing management and leadership. They give their best. They know they have somebody will take care of their back in case of any trouble, but as well, that person going to be very honest to give them challenges to move forward with what they need to be. And at the same time, we have a great, great time. It's amazing. So yeah, it costs 2 to 5 times more to hire somebody when you're replacing an employee. So in figures, this could be, I don't know, from 40,000 to actually 200,000, depending of that employee role in terms of onboarding, recruiting again, training until that person is completely operational.
Well, I've been underquoting those figures. I just use I normally say half to double, but it sounds like it can be substantially more than that.
Yeah, it depends of the roles. It depends, of course, of the seniority of the person, and of course, the issue here is not quitting, right? Because at the moment, I mean, at any time, people that's it's normal to quit a job for different situations. You find a love in somebody in another country, then you want to rejoin that person. There are different reasons, right? But yeah, I think that if employees are quitting because they don't feel in a safe space, then we're missing a gap. We're missing something. And I always use these statistics from a from McKinsey. It's actually terrifying because it shows that one of the top 3 reasons why employees quit is due to uncaring and uninspiring leaders. So the other two are, I have no career progression here, and I'm not recognized getting more paid. So sometimes you cannot, as a business, you have no, it's a small structure, you cannot do more than that, right? You cannot give them an increase because you still need to get sales and everything, right? But the third one, having uncaring and uninspiring leaders, this is something we can tackle and help our people. Why is important without pointing at them, and of course, being more mindful, because we all need help, right? We all need someone to actually show us a different way without changing ourselves, because we are not here to fix anyone, right? We have good people working in the environment, and they're doing a great job with their skills, but there are better ways. And that for me is a very powerful thing to bring to actually to companies. You were saying what else you're doing. Now I'm speaking as well, and I'm speaking more on a virtual space. I was speaking with Singapore, and doing these webinars, and what I'm trying to see is that we all have something good to bring to the table, and we're all here to learn from each other actually. And I think that the core of the solution is to work with human resources, with head of departments in human resources, with training academies in companies, because those are the key, I think, that will drive the change on that culture that need to go from good to great actually.
Yeah, it's interesting you're speaking about your speaking journey there and mentioning that everyone has got something to offer. There's this misperception that you have to be an expert, a guru, have 25 years experience in something. I've got this saying, I call it 2 steps ahead, that there is a role for people anywhere in their career journey where you are just 2 steps ahead of somebody else coming up behind you. And you are the perfect person to stand up and speak out and help them, because you understand the current zeitgeist that is operating. You understand the latest techniques, technology, skills, and where to access those and who is best teaching those, where somebody who may be 10 years or 20 years ahead has completely lost touch with that. So, very important to realize that that you have a lot of value to give. You just have to frame it, within the right context.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the things that I like is that, as you said, it doesn't mean because you have 20, 25 years, you're the best guru, or you can have 25 years doing just one thing, and that will actually cut you from actually being more mindful, right, of other things. That's why it's very important, I think, to have this mindset of awareness, mindfulness, I will say, of awareness. I learned from my employees that are Gen Zs. I learned so much, and I say, wow, this person has so much potential. And I think it's a responsibility as a leader, right, to bring this to the table and saying, this is what I'm seeing, because they haven't done or haven't experienced much, as I say, as an employee, right? And you can see their potential, and just actually being, because I'm ahead 2 or 3 steps, as you said, I can see where this is coming actually in a good way, right? And it gives the person confidence. Wow, my manager or my leader is looking at me at this level. And the opposite is true as well. When we see something probably not working for an employee, to be honest and give them feedback. But here's the trick. How do we do that? Which state? How secure are we going to put them to receive that information and doesn't feel like, you know what I mean? And I think that's when I say happy warrior is to be really mindful, really mindful of saying sometimes, no, we cannot. It's not the right time. And at the same time, make sure that that person leaves that room feeling respected, heard. Very challenging. Very challenging because as leaders, sometimes we have so many things to deal with, right? Emails, targets, everything. And this space, especially when we have to say no sometimes, has to be very mindful, very caring, I think. And the employees will feel it.
Well, I bet you they do feel it with you, Thomas. I think employees who work under you, with you, alongside you are very, very lucky to be there. Thomas, if people want to learn more from you and get in contact, how can they do that?
Easiest way is to LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I post 3 times a week. I like to get feedback. If I can do something better, as I say, I don't know anything. I'm learning every day. It's very scary and it's actually real. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, and I just post what I feel. And sounds that it resonates with a few, so that's very good. So just send me a request on LinkedIn, follow, connect. That's the easiest way. Yeah.